Alright, so Expelled. Kind of wanted to see this movie to see if it was as bad as Detention, because that movie was absolutely horrible, and this movie's labeled as a comedy, and Detention was somehow labeled as a comedy, and it wasn't. Um, it's not a good movie. I was kind of expecting it wasn't going to be a good movie from the trailer. It made it look so terrible. Um, I do have some good things to say, and I know that is a thing that you think, what? Out of a bad movie review, but despite the bad acting of Cameron Dallas, the main star, who is so incredibly annoying in this movie, there are some things I did like. For example, I like the actor who played Danny. Never seen him before, but I thought he was giving his best that he could, even though the dialogue is pretty terrible and there aren't really any funny moments apart from one moment which was like, oh, that's quite funny. But he said that line and that bit was quite funny. That was the only funny bit in the entire movie. It's just such a odd situation where you have it's a bad movie, bad dialogue, everything that goes on is just complete nonsense, pretty much. Apart from the scene at the end, which is the most coherent scene in the entire film, that actually makes you not want to smash the screen with your fist at how annoying this character is. And he actually isn't so annoying in one scene, and you think, what? If it hadn't been so irritating for the rest of the film, maybe the film wouldn't be so terrible. And obviously, if you change all the dialogue and everything, I mean, it's just be a lot of work. But if you did all that, then it'd be better, right? Go back to the positive. Sorry, I still went off a little bit. It's just there's so many things that are wrong in this movie. The cast are good in it mostly, apart from Calvin Dallas, who is terrible. You know, he's got this presence on screen that is just so irritating. And for the entire movie, it's watching him, and he's the star of it, and you just I even to be honest with you, I even saw the thing at the beginning and like, oh my god, here we go. It's like an Adam Sandler kind of production company name that you're in for a bad time. Awesomeness TV Productions. And like, oh wow, this sounds amazing. And actually, after going on IMDb about a couple minutes ago, apparently they do lots of YouTube videos and they're really bad apparently. And this movie's terrible. It's it's that kind of thing where you look to a movie like Superbad, which is hysterically funny, and you show the whole thing of high school, and it's so entertaining, it's so fresh, and it's so new, and it just hits so many different points, and it's so great. This movie is complete opposite of that. It's just so incredibly terrible, and I will give it merit. It's not as bad as Detention, because Detention was just the abomination of cinema, and just it's still in my opinion the worst film ever made by the human race because there's too many references. I think that's why this film isn't as bad because obviously there aren't as many references in the movie as there were in Detention. But having said that, and on top of all the things that I say that the cast were giving their best that they could, despite the terrible dialogue, it's still a bad movie. And I sat through it, which can't be said for Detention because I didn't really want to sit through it. But it's probably the fact that it's not as bad as Detention that I sat through it more, if that makes sense. But still, in terms of score, I think it gets a 3. And it gets a 3 out of 10 on the basis that Detention got a 0. And there are things that were in Detention but obviously didn't obviously come up as bad things that were in Detention, like in terms of acting. And there was one moment that kind of made me giggle a little bit. So those things pushed the movie up to at least just about a 2-star. It should really be a 1-star, but because of the things that were better than Detention and the fact it's not as bad as Detention, I'm pushing it up a little bit. So that's what I think. I mean, I think it's a bad movie. I really don't like Cameron Dallas. I mean, it's just incredibly irritating. And actually, I have to say before we end this review that actually Katie is the person who made that scene at the end so coherent, and she gives, in my opinion, the best performance of the entire film. And she makes that scene coherent because you actually get a sense of what the film should have been like for the whole hour and a half that pretty much had been on at that point, which it hadn't. It has failed really, really massively at doing. And in that scene, you capture what I think was missing for the entire film, and that is what elevates this movie from a 1 star to a 2 star. And so that's it.